I want to share with you some tips on engagement. There's 7 of them, and this is the start. So these are hidden secrets, I would call it. And let's start with, the ultimate constraint is most probably that of management focus. And it's due to the absence of clear upfront visibility and a shared understanding. And I see how business ends up with what I can call almost a scrambling dilemma due to a lack of time, a lack of effort, and a lack of focus. We end up running in the business, but for no purpose. And the question is, but how does this manifest itself? Examples. Personally, I think we spend way too much time caught up in meetings or preparing for it. Then I think there's very high levels of variability in performance, and we end up chasing the same target month after month, week after week, and there's a paradox there. I also think that this results then in us constantly shifting the goals and objectives. And you leave your people confused in doing that, and they will start running away from you. They don't have a choice. There's also, the pressure to achieve always the higher output, the higher efficiencies, whilst maintaining the current ways of doing things. There's no change, there's no creativity. And the reason is we end up managing downstream, where there is indeed no creativity and innovation. And then, of course, stakeholders constantly introduce new requirements, new management drives, a demand for running multiple initiatives, all of which have unique goals, unique audits, unique reviews, more numbers on a spreadsheet, and it results in what I would call digital chaos. So a culture where we have this responsive scrambling approach towards continuous change on the demands that's out there or the wants. So if your modus operandi has become that, then it is defined by, we are master scramblers. And this for me is then that hidden secret to take time out where you can reflect on reality and ask yourself, is the stuff that we do really working? And 2 pointers. The one is, why not do the work between meetings and not in a meeting? And I think the other one is to constitute teams across the traditional boundaries of how we work for a solution. Bottom line, we need more focus. So that would be my hidden secret number 1. My hidden secret number 2 in engagement is that at the start of any engagement session, just bring more clarity on what it is you want to achieve. And you do that by sharing the bigger picture for context. Start on a conceptual level and then work towards the detail. The irony is, if you start with the detail, you might never get out of it. You run out of clock time. Think of a metaphor where, in a campaign plan where the people is in the trenches, but they have no clue of what's happening around them. There's no motivation there. There's no context. It isn't motivational. It can't be. So what should you always consider to allow them to see more of is that conceptual picture, and then follow the detail. Conceptual picture on what? Well, what's the purpose? Why are we here? What are we doing? What do you want to achieve? What decisions will be made in this meeting? What can we expect? Why is this important? Well, if you can work more like that, it will become way more proactive, the business, and way more inspirational. It's solution driven. And that for me is the hidden secret, to understand the business on a conceptual level more. Hidden secret number 3 is close the execution gap. Many things relate to the execution gap. Allow me to mention 2. In ad hoc conversations leading towards making decisions, be very specific and close the loop on who should do what, by when, with what, for how much, how will we get feedback, who else should be involved, what will be communicated by when and who is responsible. In other words, never make the assumption that people know exactly what to do and how to do it. Make it clear of what it is you want. That would create a sense of urgency, and that's what you want. Then on the how, always give people guidelines to consider on how to get the job done. You don't tell them what to do, you just give them guidelines. It becomes the mandate. And use leading sentences that start with, consider to, speak to, look at, maybe you can. This is hugely empowering as it inspires people to think outside the norm or the box. They simply get inspired to explore alternatives, and that is good for their morale. It creates a sense of advancement, and it's just a good thing to do. As a matter of fact, I think this becomes one of the building blocks of becoming a learning organization. So, number 3, close the execution gap. Then engagement, hidden secret number 4, is when at risk in making better decisions with consequences, consider take the conversation outside of the meeting first and then bring it back. It's almost an intuitive feeling on when to do it, when to take it outside. And you can ask yourself, this issue, is it maybe an opportunity to upscale that issue to project status? Then put a project team together. Let them go and work it, give them guidelines, and figure out when to get feedback. Maybe it's another kind of opportunity. I would simply call it cadre training. There's an issue, it relates to policies and procedures and SOPs, protocols. Get the right team in there, let them discuss this issue topic, get the professionals in there, and everybody gets onto the same page in 1 hour. There's of course another example where we have to do, make a decision based on the presentations made, but we don't have all the information, we're going to make a bad decision. Send a team out, let them do the work and come back with, the right proposal. And if you want to make the better decision, then let them present you with different options. What do I mean by that? Well, option A, option B, and each one of these options do have their advantages and disadvantages. And let them share with you their preferred solution. Why not? Because they now know a lot. They did the homework. And yes, it's your decision. But what I'm trying to say is, learn to take things outside. That's my number 4. It's a powerful tip for engagement. Engagement hidden secret number 5. We need intelligence and not information. There's always a lot of information, but we need more intelligence. Intelligence implies not only the sharing of massive information, data and reports and spreadsheets. Information is simply raw material. It's data, it's collected, and it's about a particular subject, yes, but people use it sometimes just to show off. They've done the work. What we need is not that. We need intelligence. Intelligence is the knowledge and the insights you derive from the information. You do that through analysis, synthesis, and interpretation. So for this again, people need to work between meetings. They need to create new teams. They need to go into a coffee shop and have an open conversation. They need to become more creative and innovative. They have to work upstream in the business. And by converting information intelligence, that is what you need. Number 5. Now, hidden secret number 6 is, when it comes to planning and execution, it is often too rigid, fixed and linear. And ask yourself just this question: how often do we actually get to the planned numbers and the targets? How often does it change? How inconsistent is our performance related to the performance numbers? And how often do we actually achieve the targets that we set ourselves? There's huge misalignment in the business. There's no consistency there. And in my mind, consistency will always trump intensity. So instead of making noise Rather, understand that with so much variation built into your design and in your process, that process should be more focused on protective capacity. What do you need to create the buffer so that you don't run out of flow? So this optimized flow concept is, where we reduce the impact of variance and interdependencies, and we do that by placing strategic buffers in the business. For this, the management process should then be way more dynamic, integrated, and cyclic. All planning then, allow us to be more adaptive and more dynamic. So that would be my number 6. Engagement, hidden secret number 7. We need more visibility in order to focus. If not, we will always be reactive. And in any production meeting, as an example, for performance, we need visibility, but only on a few core issues. And for that, we consider that ops room approach, the operational room, where the key performance drivers is visible. Think of a pilot flying the plane. How much does he need to know? Not much. And this will then indicate to you the trend. We're going up, we're going down, we're going left, we're going right, and that's all you need. Benefit of that approach is it will make you, again, way more proactive. It will assist us to focus on the real issues, and it will imply an immediate response or action as a priority. And most important, it will drive people's behavior. So for this upstream approach, where it's more creative, innovative in resolving the real challenges in the business. So stop using output measures if you want to change people's behavior or the performance. Don't do that. Focus on the input measures, such as flow, bottleneck measures, measures related to protective capacity, people's performance, and how can you enhance their performance. Focus on those things. Give your attention to things that can actually promote the production in the business. And these buffers, they will protect the system's flow from the combined effect of interdependence, variance, and context. It's the only way. It will give you resilience for those unexpected variation in the business, and it will also bring stability. And the stability and the protection, again, brings a way more stable, predictable outcome. And the system will, by default, become more resilient. So what I'm saying is we need more visibility up front. And just ask yourself always this question: how much indicators does the pilot need to actually be able to fly the plane? And it's not many. We do exactly the opposite.